Hello students, today we will see a special type of random process called as Gaussian process. So let's say we are observing a random process capital X of t over an interval 0 to capital T. Okay, and now let's define a new random variable called capital Y, which is given by the equation number 1, that is y is equal to integral, the observation integral 0 to t, g of t capital X of t dt. Okay, now we refer to y as a linear function of t if it satisfies some criteria. Okay, now the g of t is called as a weighting function, and it should be such that the mean square value of y is finite. So if g of t follows the criteria that it's in such a way that the mean square value of capital Y is finite, then that y is called as the linear function of x of t. Okay, now if this random variable capital Y is a Gaussian random variable, okay, for every g of t, then that process capital X of t is called as a Gaussian process. Otherwise it is any just random process. But if y, which is called as the linear function of x of t, okay, and g of t is the weighting function, that weighting function satisfies the criteria that mean square value of capital Y is finite, okay, then it's called as the weighting function. And if y is a Gaussian random variable, it's not any random variable but it is a Gaussian distributed random variable for every g of t, then that process capital X of t is said to be a Gaussian process. Okay, so in other words, the process capital X of t is called as a Gaussian process if every linear function of x of t, just the way there is a capital Y over here, we can take every linear function of x of t with a different g of t. Okay, g of t is the weighting function, so instead of g of t you can have any other function in such a way that the mean square value of that particular random variable is finite. Okay, so x of t is called as a Gaussian process if every linear function of x of t is a Gaussian random variable. All right, so y is should be a Gaussian random variable, then x of t will be a Gaussian process provided that g of t is a weighting function in such a way that mean square value of y is finite. Okay, so these are the criteria to be satisfied. Now when a Gaussian process x of t is sampled at different time instances ti, okay, I going from 1 to anything infinity, the result is a Gaussian random variable x of ti. That is, if we take any samples, if we observe it at some time interval ti, then for that Gaussian process we will get a Gaussian random variable called as capital X at ti. Okay, now we will see some properties of this Gaussian process. The first property states that if a Gaussian process capital X of t is applied to a stable linear filter, then the random process capital Y of t developed at the output of the filter is also Gaussian. Okay, now we'll prove this particular property. Let's say we have a linear time invariant filter. Its impulse response, we take it as h of t. Okay, at its input we give a random process x of t, okay, as the input, and we say that input process is a Gaussian process. So given to us is that x of t is the random process but it is a Gaussian process. All right, and we need to prove that the output process, that is y of t, okay, should be a Gaussian process also. All right, so that is what we need to prove. Now x of t is a Gaussian process is given to us and it is passed through a filter. Filter's impulse response is h of t. Okay, now when you can see that block diagram over there. Now since these are values in terms of time, y of t will be convolution of x of t convolved with h of t. Okay, so y of t will be nothing but x of t convolution with h of t. If it was in terms of frequencies, we would have just multiplied x of f multiplied with h of f to get y of f, but that was in terms of frequency domain. Now we are in with respect to time, so in terms of time, y of t is going to be x of t convolution with h of t. So we will solve it with respect to the convolution integral. Okay, so y of t is given by the convolution integral, that is integral. Now observation interval is 0 to t for the Gaussian process, so the integral is from 0 to t at x of tau h of t minus tau d tau. Okay, this is the normal convolution integral which you have studied in signals and systems. All right, and 0 to t is the observation integral of the output x of t. All right, now we assume that the impulse response h of t should be like the g of t, that is the weighting function. So it should satisfy the condition that mean square value should be finite. Okay, so we assume that the impulse response h of t is in such a way that the mean square value of the output random process is finite for all time t. Okay, so it should satisfy the condition that the weighting function should be satisfying. Alright, now to demonstrate that the output process y of t is Gaussian. Right now what is given to us is x of t is Gaussian and some h of t is given, and that h of t is forming that weighting function. It is satisfying the condition that the weighting function should satisfy. Okay, but with that we need to prove that y of t is also a Gaussian process. Okay, so to show that it is a Gaussian process, we must show that any linear function of it should be a Gaussian random variable. Alright, so just the way we had capital Y as a Gaussian random variable, we should be having some particular random variable. We should show that it is a Gaussian random variable. So right now over here we would define a random variable called as capital Z. Okay, and we should show that capital Z is a Gaussian random variable. So right now our capital Z is going from integral 0 to infinity g y of t dt. Okay, so we define that particular random variable as this particular integral. Okay, just the way we had our main equation 1. Okay, in terms of capital Y, in terms of just like that we have a random variable capital Z. Instead of g of t there, we are calling it as gy of t over here. Okay, there x of t was given as the random process, here y of t is given as the random process over here. Alright, so now in this gy of t, y of t dt, y of t we substitute from our equation t, that is the convolution integral which we have already defined in the previous slide. Okay, so z we have it as z is equal to integral 0 to infinity gy of t and the convolution integral, that is 0 to t integral h of t minus tau x of tau t tau and then dt. Okay, now to show that y of t is a Gaussian process, first of all, okay, y of t to show that y of t is a Gaussian process, we must show that z is a Gaussian random variable. Okay, that is our immediate aim right now. So then z must be a Gaussian random variable for every function gy of t, that is gy of t is the weighting function over here, in such a way that mean square value of z is finite. So that is what we need to show first. Alright, now that integral in equation 4, we interchange the order of integration. Okay, in that equation 4, so we define that g of tau. Okay, we define another value called g of tau, which is the outer integral, that is integral 0 to infinity gy of t and h of t minus tau dt. We call it as some g of tau. Okay, defined by equation 6. Alright, substituting that in our main equation 4, we get the value of z as integral 0 to t g of tau x of tau d tau. That is our equation 5 now. Okay, now here there is just a change in the variable name of tau. Okay, we can again change the variable name to call z value as integral 0 to t g of t x of t dt. Okay, so now over here you can see that x of t was given as a Gaussian process. Alright, now z would be called as a Gaussian random variable if g of tau, which is given here, satisfies the condition of the weighting function. And obviously g of tau satisfies the condition of that weighting function because it is dependent from equation 6. You can see that it is dependent on h of t minus tau. Okay, that is, it is basically dependent on h of t, and we have already assumed that h of t is in such a way that the impulse response is in such a way that the mean square value of the y of t is finite. So it satisfies the condition of the weighting process. So consequently g of tau is a weighting function. Okay, so which in turn means that since x of tau is a Gaussian process which is given, it is the input. Okay, so z must be the output. Z is the output, which is called as a linear function. Okay, and over here it is a Gaussian random variable, that is proved since g of tau satisfies the weighting function. Okay, so g of tau is the weighting function, x of tau is the Gaussian process. Alright, so Z will satisfy that particular condition that it is a Gaussian random variable. Now since Z is a Gaussian random variable, okay, just the equation above equation 4, you can see that since Z is a Gaussian random process, a Gaussian variable, you can easily see that from that equation itself, y of t, it should be a Gaussian process. Okay, so since so this proved that if x of t is the input process, input Gaussian process, and it is passed through a filter, output process is also Gaussian. So that is the first property. Okay, the second property states that if we consider a set of random variables, or we take the samples of a random process capital X of t at different times, that is t1 t2 till tn, then we get the samples x at t1 comma x at t2 comma till x at t1 tn. So this becomes a set of random variables. So if the process x of t is Gaussian, then all these sets of random variables are jointly Gaussian for any value of n, and their n-fold joint probability density function is determined by specifying a set of means. Okay, that mean values are given by mx at any value t instant of time ti is nothing but it's equal to expectation of that x at time ti, I going from 1 to n, that is any value. And the set of autocorrelation functions, so autocorrelation also we have defined, so rx at tk minus ti is equal to expectation of x of tk into x of ti, k going from 1 to any value of n. Okay, so this is the second property. The third property states that if a Gaussian process is wide sense stationary, then the process is also stationary in the strict sense. Okay, we'll recall what is a strict sense stationary process. For a strict sense stationary process, all the values, all the statistical values that we can calculate, they should be stationary, that is they should not be changing with respect to time. Whereas for wide sense stationary process, the only mean and correlation functions, okay, those should be stationary, that is they should not change with respect to time. So it follows that usually we say that all the strict sense stationary process are wide sense stationary by default, but all wide sense stationary processes need not be strict sense stationary. But if it is given that a wide sense stationary process is Gaussian, then that process is also strict sense stationary. Okay, so that is the third property. Then the fourth property states that if the set of random variables capital X of t1 comma X of t2 till X of tn, which is obtained by sampling that Gaussian process capital X of t at different times, that is t1 t2 till tn, and they are uncorrelated, that is correlation is 0. Okay, so they are not at all correlated, that is they are not at all similar. Okay, that is uncorrelated, then the expectation value is 0, that is expectation of x of tk minus mx of tk multiplied with x of ti minus mx of ti. So this is the correlation which is there. Okay, expectation of this, that is correlation factor, it is equal to 0. I is different, I not equal to k, that is I and k are different, then these set of random variables are statistically independent. Okay, since they are not at all correlated, they are called as statistically independent. So using this property, we can state that the joint probability density function of these sets of random variables, that is x of t1, x of t2, x of tn,